Welcome to the Rod Pedersen Show, everybody, on this Friday, July 3rd. It is hour two. For you, maybe if you're just joining us, it's your hour one. RP here, and it's our distinct honor to be joined in the big chair by Hall of Fame Rough Riders broadcaster John Frenzy. How are you, Frenzy?
Great. Really enjoying this. Really enjoying it.
Yeah, this is fun.
This is quite something with the Hub City going to Winnipeg. I mean, it's fantastic. Shake up a lot of Winnipeggers, eh?
Well, they're excited, and then I'm glad you delved right into the deep end. I'm not sure I'll get back to the quick six show topics because there's one really big topic in the CFL right now. And by the way, our guest coming up in hour two are Brandon London, longtime NFLer and CFLer turned TV star, and S.J. Green, a man who needs no introduction to football fans. Less than 24 hours ago, it was yesterday afternoon on TSN 1290 Radio Winnipeg, I broke the news that Winnipeg had been decided upon as the one hub city by the CFL if they return to play. This morning, the CFL on TSN's Dave Naylor confirmed that. I'm not sure who his sources were. Maybe they're the same as mine. I doubt it. But I believe the source that gave me that. And that was actually, to me, vindication enough that it came from Naylor. Well, that's not good enough for some other people, like the Canadian press. Here's their story that moved within the last hour. The CFL says no decision has been made regarding a hub city for an abbreviated 2020 regular season. On Friday, a CFL spokesman denied reports that the league had settled upon Winnipeg as a hub city in the event football was played this year. The spokesman added the CFL also hasn't reached a decision whether or not a season will even be held this year. So this coming from the Canadian press, I'm not sure who wrote it, and I would respectfully say, what else are they going to say?
They have to deny it.
Right. So this doesn't mean as much to me. I'm sticking to my report. I believe what I was told. And the report came with a very strong and heavy caveat that we don't even know if there's going to be a season. But if there is a season, they're playing in Winnipeg.
Yeah, but we got to get that cleared up once and for all, forcefully, and told, yes, we're going to have a league. It's going to start September 7th.
Or whatever it is.
And it's going to go, final game may be, the Grey Cup game will be played maybe in December, but will be played.
Well, I meant to say this earlier, by the way. I again, see this differently than a lot of the league leaders. I see the discussion as a good thing. They don't. We're never going to agree on that.
Yeah.
But at the very least, at least the players have some sort of a carrot dangling out there. The league has yet to cancel the season. You know they don't want to cancel the season. And this is what I would tell the Willie Jeffersons and the Chad Jeters and the James Wilder Juniors that are all openly calling out the CFL, saying, are we going to play? This is what I would say, John. Do what you got to do. If you need to go get a job temporarily or permanently, do what you got to do. Because they're not in a position to make a decision right now. Is that not fair?
Right on.
To the to the poll question daily for Capital Automall Universal Collision Center. Would you want your city to be a sports hub city? And I'm talking CFL, NHL, NBA, or any other league that's doing it. Shoot, the CEBL, Canadian Elite Basketball League, is doing it in St. Catharines. Which, incidentally, did you see, Dupes? They announced their television schedule this morning on CBC Sports. The CEBL did. 7 games. The Facebook votes are 74% say yes. And on Twitter, 63% say yes. I voted no for simply this reason, selfish reasons, as it pertains to me. I can't go to the games anyways, so who cares? But I get there just seems to be a lot of bragging rights and bravado. It is sports, by the way, that Winnipeg is really puffing their chests out, saying, come on down to Winnipeg, which I like. And you said you would vote yes, John.
Yep, sure would.
And what are the reasons for that? Why do you want Regina to be a hub city?
Oh, because it's Regina. Love Regina. Love of the city. There it is right there. You're proud of the city you're in. You want people across Canada, across the world, to come and see it, to come and visit. You got lots to see when you're here, lots of things we can show you. We'll entertain you. We'll give you a good time here. And it'll be just talk, just sport talk all the time. It'll be a great time to meet a bunch of super sports fans.
Yep.
Okay.
I guess. You're understanding the fans aren't going to be allowed in the facility.
I know they're not, but they can come to town anyway. They'll want to be...
Yeah, they want to mingle around the stadium. I don't know.
Hanging around the stadium.
One of our viewers writes in, Zach Nelson in Calgary. He says, Global News now denies reports of the CFL going to Winnipeg. Guys, look, I'll educate you a little bit on how this works. The Canadian press wrote the story. All the news outlets are picking it up. It came from one source, the Canadian press. Don't come at me and say, Rod, CTV's denying it, Sportsnet's denying it, Global's denying it. It's one source. It's the Canadian press, okay? And my source is standing by his information that Winnipeg's been chosen as the hub city. I'm standing by that source, and David Naylor confirmed it this morning.
And David Naylor
is rarely wrong.
Fantastic source. He's a top-notch
Norm Fong writes in, the great Norm, the Hall of Fame equipment manager of the Riders. He says, Rod, didn't the Canadian government just extend the border closure till August 31st? Well, for one, last I saw, it's still July 23rd, isn't it? The most recent that I've read, Norm. Secondly, this is a gray area. Look at the Blue Jays. They're supposed to be starting their training camp this weekend, tomorrow.
Yeah.
All those players are coming in from Dunedin. So I know it's a Liberal government. They feel everything needs to be fair. So if it's fair for the Blue Jays to come in, why can't CFL American players? Just saying.
I think.
What's the story with Brandon London, guys? Oh, okay, we're not. Okay, that's our first guest in an hour or two. Continue, Frenzy.
Yeah, well, I've reason to believe people are going to be back here on July 24th, a couple of weeks. People that are now in the States will be allowed to come back to Canada and be in Regina by July 24th. I'm not going to say who it is.
Right. So it was closed till July 23rd. That's the last I know. I haven't seen this August 31st thing.
It was closed till July 23rd. Yeah. Now it's going to be open. Now it's got to be open. Let's get serious. If you're going to have a football season, I think this is the whole thing for the CFL. If it's extended into August, the CFL will say, no way, we can't, because we can't get our players back. But if it's extended and cut back to July 23rd, a real good chance that the league will say, hey, we're going to have a league, because we can make out 2 weeks for quarantine, 2 weeks for back in town with the teams, and then starting the season, maybe if we're lucky, September, Labor Day. And who needs practice weeks?
Well, the coaches will say they do.
Well, yeah, I know.
Realistically, they don't.
How intensely you get those with the salesmen or with the veteran players? They laugh when you talk about practice, don't they?
Yeah, they hate it.
Well, I know they do. They think it's a joke.
They get paid to practice.
That's
they
right.
play games for free.
That's right.
Interesting, by the way, we do have a live studio audience, some friends of ours that are in. They've been watching the show for a long time, but you're really seeing how this is a coffee get-together, right? That's all that it is. I feel like I'm in a coffee shop.
Yeah, sure you do.
Somewhat arguing here, trying to talk sense into everybody. For instance, our viewer Dave says the borders may be closed, but that wouldn't apply to essential workers. Last I checked, pro athletes are not deemed essential workers. Just want to put that out there. And secondly, if the Blue Jays are allowed an exemption to that, then I think you got to give it to Canadian Football League players. I really think that you do. So, misinformation. And I'll say it, another one. I was at coffee on Tuesday with my sponsor, Frenzy. We couldn't go into the bathrooms in the coffee shop because they were closed. Yet you go to the next coffee shop and they got one urinal closed and another one taped up with a garbage bag. And you go to the next coffee shop and it's wide open.
It's not.
See what I mean?
It's not funny.
There's no uniformity.
No,
we don't know what the hell's going on.
Not at all. That's very frustrating for ordinary guys going out for a coffee. Just try to find a shop to go just try to find a place to go have a coffee. Drives you crazy.
No.
You got wind up. You know what you do? You wind up going back home.
Yeah, you don't. It's ruined. Yeah, you go sit in the backyard.
You say, doesn't that waitress look real good? And the guy says, that's your wife, for God's sake.
Well, and furthermore, Robert Kazikoff writes in, you're the race car guy, aren't you, Robert? He says, I'm hearing up to a year, according to the CBC. We need to stop putting so much stock into what we read. That would be the first thing. Again, we're just sitting here having a coffee discussion, and Dupe's in the break, and he will rejoin us later on in the program. Said, my report that the PFC was going to play a shortened season kicking off September 1st. That's the Prairie Football Conference, junior football.
Yeah.
My God, I was ripped from neck to navel.
Yeah.
On that a week later. we're playing. Oh, really? What a shock.
Well, I'll find out.
This is no different to me. This is no different. I reported this. CFL's denied it. Let's just wait and see. I'm still wondering if they're going to play at all. But I said to the, who is the guy from Kamloops? Is he the commissioner of the BC Conference? Something? No, he's the GM of the team in Kamloops. I said, I want an apology if you guys kick off in September. I never heard back from him. Blake Brown writes, he's a trucker. He says, what about NHL hub cities? And now we're going right down another road, and that is where the NHL players come in. They're not all in America. A lot of them are in their Canadian home cities right now. But Austin Matthews, as we know, is in Scottsdale.
Yeah. It's going to be awkward.
So he, by the way, is an American.
Yeah.
You're watching Rod Pedersen On Demand. For more of The Rod Pedersen Show, visit rodpedersen.com or follow Rod Pedersen on social media.